Hello everyone, welcome to my stream. Tonight is September 27th. Going to go over how to build a watch list using Tradytics. There's a 10% off coupon or promotion referral link for Tradytics in the description to this video if you are interested in signing up. So what I typically do to build a watch list for the next day is I would open Tradytics up, and I utilize the Scanny scanner. And when I get to the Scanny scanner, it has a bunch of filters built in. Minimum price, maximum price, minimum volume, max volume, change, market cap, sector, analyst, PE ratio, profit margin, short interest, and then we also have a bunch of other scanner signals to search for. So what I typically do is I like to trade inside bars and outside bars from the daily time frame. So in order to pull those up, the first thing we would do is I would like to search for minimum volume of 1.5 million. So 1,500,000 is what I'm going to enter into the volume. Then I am going to make sure that it is an optionable ticker by clicking optionable, and then we are going to search for inside day or inside bar. Then I am automatically going to sort from greatest to least volume. So here is the results that come up. Labu, XLE, AMC, Plug, Tilray. So I like to have something that has a big market cap. So we're going to look over 1 billion, which will also sort out a lot of stuff that, doesn't have a lot of liquidity and a lot of volume in the options world. So the first one I see here that draws my attention in this list, is PayPal. So we're going to switch over to TradingView here and pull up PayPal. And as we can see here on the daily chart, PayPal had an outside day indicated by this white candle, and then we have an inside day indicated by this yellow candle. So in order to set up our levels, we would mark the high and the low of the inside day, and our upside trigger for calls would be a break above the high of the inside day candle of 87.70, and the trigger for the downside would be a break below 84.58. So that looks like it has some pretty good range there. Another one in the list that kind of piques my fancy here, we have Carvana, Twitter, Snow. So to build confluence for these as well, if we look at PayPal, we want to go in here and look at PayPal on the stock dashboard as well as the option dashboard. So we draw our support and resistance levels, and we can see that PayPal is sitting on major support right now at 84.30. We can add the delta to the chart as well as the GEX. And we can see that we are sitting on a GEX zone as well, positive GEX. But for building confluence with this, the one thing I would want to check first is my support and resistance zones, and if we are sitting on heavy levels of gamma or heavy levels of DEX support and resistance as well. You can also add the dark pool levels, which we can see we have a nice dark pool cluster right here. If I clear this out and we add the daily dark pool, we are right around that level as well. So the thing I want to look at is the options dashboard. This is how I build confluence for adding it to my watch list. From top to bottom, we would check algo flow. So we look at the 5-minute algo flow. As we can see, price is trending up a little bit, but our algo flow is in the negative. So here's a 0, and our algo flow is going down. And the first thing I would want to look at is the heat map and see what lights up. So expiring October 7th is the 88 calls, 342,000. And October 21st for the 86 calls, we have 101,000, but nothing that really sticks out. Looking at the weekly, nothing for 9:30 expiration, but 10:21 we do have 85 and 87.50. Now I want to come down here and check my open interest and look at the expiration of 9:30. And as we can see, the 92 calls have the biggest open interest for the call side. And for the put side, it would be your 70 puts followed by your 80 puts. Then our GEX level right now, our biggest GEX is at 97.50 for an aggregated view, which means across all expirations. But if we look at 9:30, we can see that our biggest GEX level is at the 90. So we have a big positive GEX at 90, as well as big open interest to the call side at 92 and 90. So that could typically act as a magnet. And then we look at top contracts. So we have 90 calls, 91 and 97.50. Then we have 81 and 86. And for puts, we don't have that many orders either, but we do have some 85 puts. So then the next thing I would want to do is come over here to the live flow, and I want to search for PayPal. Then I want to look at bought contracts that are out the money with a short expiration. And the only thing that pops up with those filters, also I want non-spread turned on. The only thing that pops up with those filters is PayPal, $90 calls expiring 9:30. Somebody spent about $38,000 on that. So this might be something to look into here. A break to the upside. How you doing, Focus? What is DEX for tomorrow? So market DEX is currently red, very small bar, so we could see a move down in the morning, but we did break into new yearly lows today. And we do have a ton of speakers tomorrow from the Fed. So tomorrow being Wednesday, we have Bullard speaking at 10:10. We have Papa Powell speaking at 10:15. And then we have Bowman speaking at 11. So going to be a busy day tomorrow. Probably highly volatile as well. So I'm going to write down PayPal as one that I want to keep on my watch list for a possible upside move. Our next ticker that I saw on the list for an inside day was Snow. So I typically have good luck trading this symbol. So if we look at snow on the daily, we have a doji that formed today. We have an outside bar to an inside bar, and a doji forming, meaning a bunch of indecision. So upside would be a break above the high of the inside candle. Our downside trigger would be a break below the low. So let's do some digging here. So we look at the stock dashboard. We pull up snow. We draw our support and resistance levels. We can see that we're sitting on support here. And we could either see a move down, or we could see a bounce off of this support and a move back up. And if we draw our gex, there is no real zones down there gex wise. Let me draw this again. Nothing to the downside. If we look at delta, we do have a little delta zone there, positive delta. So let's go to the options dashboard. We can see that the algo flow is bearish, anticipating a move down. And not a whole lot of activity in the heat maps here. There is a real big leap here for 250, but that's way out the money. Looking at open interest for 930, 180 calls is our biggest level. Well, 290 and 180 are about the same, but we're going to ignore the 290. So our 180 calls, followed by the 170, followed by 185, and then 175. Now, if we look at our gex, biggest gex level is negative, and it's at 185. But if we look for September 30th, we have a range in between 160 positive to 180. And big contracts. So we had 6 orders expiring this Friday for the 175 calls. And then we also had 4 orders for the 172.50 calls. But on the flip side, we had 4 orders for the 160 puts with the same expiration. So this one could go either way. I do like this for a potential play, being that we do have an outside to inside. We could see an explosive move from this consolidation. So this is worthy of my watch list as well. Let's see what else we got here. Snow, mRNA, Moderna. So mRNA looks to be sitting on some major support as well. Big consolidation with an outside inside. Let's check and see what we got going on here. So mRNA, we have a bearish algo flow for the bigger time frames, but bullish for the smaller time frames. So if we look at the 1 minute, that just shows today from 9:30 a.m. till 4 p.m. If we look at the 5 minute, it goes all the way back to the 21st to active day. And if we look at the 15 minute, we go all the way back to the 13th. So short term, bullish. A little bit longer term, slightly bearish. looking at the heat map here for the 9:30 expiration, we got some 115 calls, which are already in the money. But then we had a little bit of money spent here on the 125 calls. Let's look at the net flow. The net flow from today shows calls over puts. But if we go back and we look at the 5-day, puts are over calls. 10-day, same thing. 30-day bearish as well. But on the 2-day, we did have a crossover there. 2-day, 3-day. So for about the past 3 days, we had some building of calls coming in. Very interesting here. So let's look at the open interest. 125 to the upside and 115 to the downside. So we've got 1,272 puts at the 115 level and 1,207 calls at the 125 level. GEX for 9:30, 115, 120, and 125. Three orders for the 115 calls, one order. Let's look at expiration short term. One order for 125 calls and 3 for the 115s, which are already in the money. And a little bit of flow to the downside for the 120 and 121s. So let's look at it on the stock dashboard. Let's go out to the weekly and then draw support and resistance. So we're a little bit below support here. Now we're sitting at resistance. We're sitting on a gamma level and a little bit of delta there. So this one could go either way as well. Let's see if there's anything on page 2. Okay, now after I look at inside days, I want to switch to outside days. So we have SPY, AMD, QQQ, Amazon, Google, Microsoft. We have a lot of outside days. Coin. So we'll look at SPY here. It did come in with new yearly lows. Big outside day. We are kind of sitting about 1/3 of the way in the middle of this candle. And we have AMD outside day as well. And then typically after I do this, I just go through and I look at all the different factors in the stock and the options dashboard. But I'm going to go ahead and set up the levels for PayPal, Snow, and mRNA. So for PayPal, let me get my lines right here. So this would be our inside bar, upside trigger, Let's switch to a lower time frame. So we would look for a break above this high here at 87.70, and then we would go into calls. Then my profit targets would be from the 38.2 Fibonacci extension to the 78.6, and my stop loss would be the 23.6 here. So this would be my stop loss. Take profit 1, take profit 2, take profit 3. $88. $89. $89.26. $89.63 and $90.15. And if we look at our risk to reward on this play, so our entry would be a break above 87.70. Our final price target would be 90.15, and our stop loss would be 86.96. 3.31. So basically you're risking $1 to make $3.31. So this is the basis of what I go through every night when building a watch list. I look for inside bars, outside bars, and then I set up my levels. Tomorrow, my top 3 watches for inside bars will be PayPal, Snow, and Moderna. And then I am going to be looking at some outside bars plays as well, which I will post in the Discord. You can find the link in the description to this video. I appreciate you guys for